Ever come across a healer who can call upon, like, the spirits of their ancestors and still knows exactly what herb can, calm an anxious mind?
It's wild, right?
It's incredible. So get ready, everyone, because today we are diving deep, deep into the world of African herbalists.
Yeah, we're talking about where nature's like, what is it, nature's pharmacy
Yeah,
meets this like deep, deep respect for ancient wisdom and tradition. It's gonna be good.
it's going to be so interesting. And, we've got some sources lined up for this deep dive. And let me tell you, they paint a picture of herbalists that is just so much more than just, someone who works with plants.
Oh, absolutely. Like, forget your average, here's some chamomile tea for that.
Right.
It's a completely different level, a different realm, really, of understanding and connection.
And that's what's so fascinating to me. So I guess to kick things off, what does it even mean? Like when we say herbalist in the context of these communities, what are we actually talking about?
Right. So, when we say herbalist, it's easy to kind of maybe simplify it in our minds.
Totally.
But in these communities, we're talking about individuals who are like revered, right? They're the keepers of traditions, they're medicine experts, they're spiritual guides.
Yeah, it's like a holistic thing.
It's totally holistic. It's this understanding of the interconnectedness of like literally everything, And this one source I was looking at, it described an herbalist treating a child who had like constant stomach aches, right? But instead of just, focusing on the belly.
Right, give them some Pepto-Bismol.
Exactly. They looked at potential spiritual imbalances, family tensions.
Wow.
Because they recognize that illness, it manifests on all these different levels.
That's incredible. So it's like they're not just treating the symptom, they're treating the whole person, their environment, everything.
Exactly.
And that actually ties into something else we found in our research, this idea of herbalists as spiritual guides, even diviners, that's a heavy role.
It really is. It speaks to the fact that in many African cultures, you can't separate nature from spirituality. They're completely intertwined. One source even mentioned herbalists using like fire rituals, right? To like restore balance and promote healing,
Fire rituals. Okay, that definitely adds a whole other dimension to your annual checkup, doesn't it?
Right.
So speaking of which, how does someone even become an herbalist? Is there a school, a program, you sign up for a newsletter? What is it?
It's funny. You would think in today's world it would be that straightforward, but it's not. It's very much about lineage and tradition.
Okay.
So often, this knowledge is passed down literally through generations.
Wow.
So parent to child within a family. We're also talking about apprenticeships where someone who wants to be an herbalist will spend years dedicating themselves to learning from someone who's more experienced.
That's incredible, just soaking up all that wisdom. And it really makes you appreciate how these traditions have managed to survive for so long.
Totally. And it's not just memorizing a bunch of plant names, right? Some sources talked about how certain people, they believe, are chosen. It's a spiritual calling.
Oh, wow.
They might have vivid dreams or experience certain signs, and it's this. It's not a career choice. It finds them.
That's powerful. To be called to serve their community in such a profound way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask, though, with modern medicine being so prevalent, we've all got a pharmacy on our phones.
Right, exactly.
How are traditional healers viewed today?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's definitely a growing interest in alternative medicine, right?
For sure, for sure.
But herbalists, they still have to navigate some skepticism. There are people who they trust the doctor's office, they trust the prescription, and that's it.
Yeah, it's hard to break down those walls sometimes.
For sure. It's a process.
So it's like this balancing act then, I imagine. You're trying to preserve these ancient traditions while also adapting to a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how some herbalists are approaching this. Some are incorporating modern medicine into their practice, so it's not this either situation.
Oh, interesting. So it's more like taking the best of both worlds.
Exactly. Recognizing that a lot of times healing needs that well-rounded approach, multiple perspectives.
And let's be real. Sometimes those traditional remedies, they just work. Our ancestors didn't have labs and clinical trials,
They knew what they were doing.
Exactly. They figured it out. And that's why it's so important to keep that knowledge alive, which, leads me to something else we came across in the research. This amazing effort by some herbalists to really document their practices.
Oh, absolutely. They're writing things down, recording their knowledge, because they understand that if they don't, there's a real risk that it'll be lost to time. And, with globalization and all of that, it's more important now than ever.
And that's a powerful legacy to leave behind. It makes you wonder how we can all learn from these practices, even as we embrace, new discoveries and advancements.
Right.
It's about finding that balance, isn't it? Respecting tradition, but also being open to progress.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot where both can thrive.